We are back now just after 10:30 for session 2. We are on the 5-minute chart for the Great British Pound against the Swiss franc. Bit of a sell-off been going on here, price coming downwards quite a lot. This would have been a nice run up to be on. We would have got in around about there and gone all the way up to that level there before getting knocked out. And look at this candle that happened just after midnight last night. This was up and down 0.25% within 5 minutes. Kind of crazy. Seems weird to me, especially since there's hardly any tick volume off the back of it. Bizarre candles. We want to wait for a new move rather than busting in on this one. That means either the EMA and the parabolic indicator turning upwards, so we're getting a buy trade, or even just one of them turning and then turning back. Here's our economic calendar for the day, and we see not a lot been going on. We did have retail sales quarterly coming out of New Zealand, and they did actually beat them quite nicely. Forecast at -6%, but they came in actual at 3.3. Similarly, on their yearly figure, they beat the forecast of 2% by quite a bit, getting at 33.3. So positive numbers for the New Zealand dollar there. Also, GDP figures coming out quarterly and yearly for Germany on the euro. They beat their forecast by just a touch. The quarterly is 1.6 actually against 1.5 forecast. But not a huge amount going on for the rest of the day. We've got ECB board member Schnabel making a speech at 3:30. I doubt she's going to come out and change interest rates, so probably not going to be hugely impactful there. Could be interesting in general to see what she says though. Otherwise, there's new home sales at 5 o'clock for the US dollar. So we had existing home sales yesterday, which had a little bit of a beat, and then we get new home sales today. Other than that, literally just the South African rand unemployment. So there's nothing for the pound or the Swiss franc on today's calendar. Hopefully no crazy tweets from Guy Parmelin to mess up our strategy. We are all in on the technical basis. All we need to get us started is that new move. Price continuing its downward trend though. Could be a while before we get that entry signal. It would have been a profitable trade for us to be in. Not as nice as it looks because we wouldn't have caught most of this move. The EMA was still going up or flat at that point. It didn't close sloping downwards until after this candle in fact, so we would have got in around about here. But as you can see, the dots were already past it, so we would have been in a little bit of profit as our stop loss would be there. And price is continuing on that downward trajectory. I still think it's right at the start of the session to not just jump in on a move though. It's just not proven correct right now. It's a real sell-off of the British pound here. Big red candle rolling through, biggest of the session. I think the reversal is finally due as we see that hammer candle there. Look at that, and it's on an increase in volume as well. And a hammer candle on a 5-minute chart. Surely that is a signal that price is about to bounce big time. And we have seen the dots flip sides now to get underneath the price, but not a lot actually going on with the price itself. Sort of stalled at the moment. The bounce looks pretty real with that green candle right there. That is quite a large one. If it carries on that way, we might get that exponential average to turn. We'll certainly see these parabolic dots start accelerating quicker with the momentum. It comes down just as quick as it went up though, back into the range it goes. Still ranging here about 30 minutes on, the moving average does continue downwards and the dots do continue upwards. Something has got to give sooner or later. Now we see the dot flip there above the price. It has broken, so once it closes, we will be getting in our sell trade. Here comes the close. We got both indicators giving us that sell signal now. Let's measure up the open of here through to where our stop loss will be there. That's about 14.9 pips based on our balance of $9,951.78. You can see our risk on screen now. Here comes the trade, and we'll just shimmy that way up there, and we're in. There you see it all. Let us hope that this carries on into good fortunes for us. People selling off the pound would be very nice right about now. And let's get these dots all the way past that entry price line into some guaranteed profit. Not much price action going on at the moment, hovering around our entry price. Price with a strong green move there, not what we want to see. It is getting very tight there between the price and our stop loss. Looks like it's going to trigger. It's right on the edge of this resistance area here now, the stop loss. It's not a great area to be in because it could trigger and then price could bounce back off it and come down. Hopefully it just comes back down immediately. And there goes the stop loss. Hopefully it does continue upwards. If it can get above that average, it'll flip the dots, and it will also, there we go, you see it flipping the dots like that there, and it will also eventually flip that average, and we could get into a buy trend if it breaks through this resistance level here. That would be quite nice. And we have actually seen the EMA just close upwards a touch. You barely see it, but it is 1 pixel up, so that is a buy entry for us, shaky though as it may be. So let's have a look. How far is it? It is 20.8 pips we'll go for. You can see our risk on screen now. Let's buy. It's even had a bit of a run up there. This doesn't make me feel confident, honestly. The fact that we're just going off the 90 coming in here, it really often does feel dicey when we see this 90 just tick up a bit after this raw momentum. Price could very easily come back down here, very easily come back down, and then we have to close out the trade for a loss. Maybe we shouldn't be closing our trades if this turns down. Maybe we should only be closing it once it passed the dots, but then potentially opening yourself up to more loss. It's tricky, it's tricky. It does continue in our favour so far though, a lovely sight to lay our eyes upon. It's just coming down a bit there the last period. We are getting close to guaranteed profitability, but if we see many more candles like that, then we are going to get stopped out. Hopefully we can just hang in there for a few more periods, get these dots across the line, get one more push. And as we move the stop loss up here quite a bit, that is very tight. It does look as though this is going to trigger over the next period or two now. And there she goes, price rushing down. It does flip the dot above the price as well. Now, if that EMA does turn downwards, it will be a double signal from the EMA and the parabolic dots to get immediately back into the sell trade. That's what you want. You immediately want to get back into trades. Yeah. That sell-off accelerating for the British pound there, red pouring out of the candle there, and we have seen the EMA close down. There's the dot, there's the down EMA, so this will be our entry. That's 19.7 pips. Our risk is on screen now. And we're in. We are right back in. In my opinion, it does feel as though we're going to have missed the move and that maybe this is going to continue upwards, maybe flipping that 90 period average once more. But we can hope. Moving a bit to our favour, which is of course good to see. Just ranging a bit last 20 minutes or so as we continue to bring our price down. This is similar to what happened in the last trade, where we were in a buy and it stayed just a little bit within profit for a while before plummeting back down. So we could see the reverse here. This stop loss might tighten over the next few periods, and then suddenly a rush up to the buy side may knock it out. We will see. And there it is. That is the exact run up in price now, knocking the stop loss out. That one again, not massive. We were able to mitigate some of it, but it really is a bit of a mirror of this trade over here where it ranged for a bit, came down, knocked us out. Here again, same thing, knocked us back out. But let's see if this EMA can turn upwards and have this price come up a little bit more. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get right back in. That's all we need to start making money. There we go. We can see now the dot has flipped. The EMA has just started turning upwards. If it closed like this in 2 minutes time, we are officially back in, straight back in on the buy trade. As we close off that period though, the moving average not tilting up in the end, still going a little bit down. Let's hope for those green candles to keep on coming. It's an impressive flatness of the EMA now, holding completely still for the last 3-4 periods. Don't see that too much. Breaks to the sell side and breaks hard. Big red candle coming out here. Price just moving there enough to flip the dot above the price. So assuming it closes like that without a giant green period to reverse it, then we will be looking at a sell trade in just under 5 minutes or so. Here comes the close, so let's ready ourselves here. It's about 13.5 pips that we'll go for our stop loss distance there. There's the risk on screen now. And there's our trade. Now let's everybody sell that pound. Really nice move going down for us here. That is exactly what we want to see. Another sizable red candle there closing. Great to see as we shift this stop loss. Price coming back up a bit over the last few periods, but it is with great pride and honor that we are able to drag this stop loss over into a guaranteed take profit, even if it spikes up like crazy. It's a very happy moment for us. Price running up as we move the stop loss down. This is very tight here now. Yeah, and it has procced it, but that is still a good win to get back a lot of the losses from this morning. Don't think we got back all of them. Still a ways shy of that, but a win is good to see. Price actually roaring out here. Very long there. This is just after the US stock market opens, so not sure if any investors from there are having a knock-on effect. And we are getting the immediate buy signal back in here. I don't know if this is going to be the best, but we can see the EMA is ticked up here and these dots are underneath. So let's measure that out to get our volume. So we'll call that 26.9 pips. That's our risk on screen now. And here we are getting right back in. And a very wide stop loss to begin with. I don't know if this run-up's going to last. If I did, I would know which way to trade already, but it doesn't make me feel confident. I do feel momentum is going to stall, and there's going to be at least a retracement before we see an increase in the move, if the move continues at all. Trust the system. And we're already very close to that EMA ticking down. If the candle finishes red, that EMA will be poking down, and we'll have to close it at that point. That's the thing, we've got the space on the stop loss for it to take a retracement back from this momentum and then carry on going. But because we're closing the trade when this 90 EMA turns back against us, that's what's causing the problem. And even though it might stay steady around this area, it could still be enough for this EMA to turn back down. Don't know how clearly you can see it, but that line has just ticked down there, and so it is on a downward trend now, which means we are going to manually close this trade off for one more loss. And I'm going to say it now that will be the end of the session. I've got to get it in there quick before this EMA gives us another signal and we have to jump straight back in. It was 4 losses and 1 gain for us today, and what a very rangy day it was. You can see how many trades we were in here. We were in a sell trade here, then a buy trade, sell trade back there, another sell trade, and then a buy trade in there. Not ideal to be jumping in like that. We really want the long trends, the ones that finish just before we start trading in the morning. Those are the best ones. There is still a chance that we can get our money back in the third session, but we need something definitive. We need 2 big moves, one of these and then a bit of a retracement and then come in with another one. That's what we need to get a lot of money back. At the moment we're down at $239 over the 2 sessions. Let's round off today's trades in the journal. Here we are then in the journal after session 2, and we can see we got our 5 a day in, not intentionally of course, just the way it's worked out with the signals, but we had 5 yesterday and 5 today. Yesterday we did have 2 gains, and 2 quite sizable gains as well, that made up for a lot of the losses, but only the 1 gain today. Yes, some of these losses are smaller, but that gain is not enough for us to even get close to a break even. And we're down now, bottom line, minus $239.41, or about 2.39 percentage points. That's just in 2 days, so not looking ideal at the moment. But as I said, I do think we can come back from this if we have a trending day tomorrow. This was a very rangy day. These signals are coming late sometimes, especially from the EMA. It is filtering out a few of the parabolic moves that might end us up with some losses. But it's also meaning we're getting in later on those parabolic moves that we do get in on, when it turns in favor. The EMA, when it's going up and down, when it's flickering at around about its break-even point, that's when you can end up going in and out of trades like crazy. And even though you only think you're losing $54 or so, it's not a lot, it's about 0.5%. That can really add up over these trades. It's great to follow the system, but sometimes you go into these trades and you already know just from your experience of looking at the price action that this is very, very unlikely to go well, not a good entry position. But they don't tell you about the rangy days when you read about the parabolic indicator or you look it up online. They don't say about the range nearly as much as they do about when it trends. That's when it counts for people talking about it. They say, what a fantastic trend it is. Yeah, what a fantastic trend indicator it is when it trends, right? But we can see days like today incredibly rangy, so not the best results for us, but we still have faith and optimism that in our final session tomorrow we can pull it back from the brink and hopefully get those losses back.